Another area of focus which came up between our shows, and also that we had a lot of viewers contacting us regarding, is talking about flying drones in and around EMS, emergency services, operations, basically. And of course, you've got a mixture of things from, fires and crime scenes. I mean, I could list the reasons why there'd be a police tape around an area for a certain amount of time, and there's hundreds of reasons why that could be happening. What is the situation? What is the advice as far as drone operators? Can I, if I see a police incident happening down the road here, can I go down there, put my drone up, stand a decent way back, and put my drone up and go across and film it? What is the situation with that?
Firstly, if there's something going on and you've got your drone up there and no one's come over to interact with you or deal with you, you're not causing a problem, hopefully that will be the end of the matter. Excellent. However, if you are, or if someone does come and challenge you or come and talk to you and ask you to ground your drone, there's probably a really good reason for it. And it's a good chance you won't understand or be aware of what that reason is, or might even not even have thought about it. There's lots of different reasons why we need a drone or need that airspace clear.
Okay.
It could be, there's stuff to do with morals and health of the public about gratuitous pictures.
Yes.
If it's an accident or this, there could be tactical advantage for us, or if something's going on, we don't want people to see there's certain issues or certain things or processes. It could be that we need the airspace clear because we might have a helicopter coming in, HEMS or anything else. We might have to put our own drones up if it's a search for, for
absolutely.
a missing child or a vulnerable anybody, and we can't do that safely if the airspace is busy. So there could be various different reasons, genuine reasons why, we need that airspace clear. And flying within close proximity or inside emergency, response area, we have the legal framework, and that is an offence, and we can deal with it appropriately.
Okay.
Ideally,
yes,
it will be, can you bring your drone down? We'll explain to you why. Hopefully that explanation, and that will be
if there is an officer stood by the tape and not sort of engaged in the operation. I'm not sort of saying go and tap on seen a crime officer's shoulder or something, but if there is an officer that seems to be available, as sometimes if you have the resources there can be, is it acceptable to approach them and say, hey, I'm about to fly my drone, I'm going to be over here, I'm not going to be in the way, is there any reason why I shouldn't? I think
that's really good, because that message will then get fed back to the drone teams, whether it's fire, ambulance, or police. And I think, again, as Steve said, if we know it's there and it's not going to impact what we need to achieve, then there's no problem. The problem we've got is that distance is probably not always good enough, and they always edge further forward. Yes. Now, I think when you are notified by a police officer, that is your direction of that emergency response is in place. It doesn't have to be on any of the drone apps to say that it's enforceable. Okay. It's a police officer physically saying to you, we have a police incident ongoing. And I know, in particular areas around the UK, I've had contacts with the emergency services where they've had increasing issues where they're trying to do their job. And, if you think the emergency services are there to protect life and property, if a drone starts coming in and starts impeding what we're trying to do, that is ultimately going to have the impact onto the victim who we're trying to safeguard. So again, it's having consideration not only for the incident and those working in it, but it's also the reason why we're there. Who we're trying to help. So if you're instructed and directed by a police officer that this is an emergency response, ground your aircraft, there is a legal requirement to do that. Okay. Certainly, if we will obviously suspect that you're committing an offence because you are that close enough that the police have had to come and speak to you in the first place.
And then you're kind of mixing the thing as well of that if you're reasonable of suspecting an offence, you can ask me to land my drone anyway. So it kind of comes into that flow.
Isn't it? So all those legislation powers now become.
And one thing I would say as well, from my point of view, and conversations that I've had with hobbyists regarding this, is that think about what's going to happen. You know, what's the problem when we fly my drone over there? It's not necessarily you having an issue with it, but you know, officers or anybody working within that scene, they don't know if that drone is connected to what's going on in there. There are so many reasons, there are so many issues that could make your drone flight a problem above that scene, which again is why perhaps just walking up and saying, hey, do you mind if I do this? And they can say, no, absolutely no chance. Please don't come anywhere near it, sort of thing.
And the other thing to note is that it doesn't matter how long the incident could last days. So the blue lights have stopped flashing. It could seem really slow and it's just people milling around. But until that incident's turned to what we call steady state policing, could be 4 days, could be anything. That is, the rules still stand, that you can't fly over.
And you'll know that from the fact that the tape is still there and that there's still a presence there. There's often a police van parked somewhere with a chap sat in it, isn't there? Sort of,
Even without the tape, if you're being directed by a police officer, you are in an emergency response. So
of course, because
whether you like it or not,
it can also be the other side of things, of course, that it isn't days later, it's just started happening. So actually it could have happened since your drone's gone in the air and now it's a problem, etc. So,
and I think, you know, if you are a drone operator that wants to capture that footage, you know, or even, you know, media, you know, will pop up now and again to get that coverage. You know, you've just got to sort of ask yourself, you know, what are they doing here? They are trying to safeguard someone. By me doing this, I'm going to attract their attention, which means they're going to drag them away from what they're trying to do to deal with you trying to fly a drone.
Yes.
When common sense should say, let them just get on with the job.
Because I think sometimes it comes down to the sort of, you know, and again, this is only a minority, but we'll feel, oh, why are they worried about us flying there and that type of thing. But I think it's trying to get the message across that there are so many reasons.
Oh yeah,
you know, and just from the fact that they don't have to rule you out as being connected to it, because you're now flying a drone over to see what's happening.
And that's why it's good that, you know, the fact that you're being told there and then is really useful, because you may want to have a good debate with the police officer, but we're not in a position all the time to have that conversation. So you will be approached because you are suspected of committing an offence, which opens the, you know, all the different powers and legislations, and we will ground that drone. And if need be, that drone will be seized as well, you know, including your mobile phone, the controller with it. So just think about the bigger picture. By all means, fly if it's not going to impede. But if you do get approached by fire, ambulance or police to say, look, you know, either land or you're too close, consider moving further away.
Okay, but I would, which is fantastic, and it's good, and that's exactly why we're asking these questions, to get these hard and fast answers. But I would also remind the audience of Steve's initial response, which was, you know, if you're flying and there's no approach, that type of thing, crack on, you're okay, because obviously there is an issue. But again, I suppose that comes down to visibility as well, doesn't it, from the point of view of if you're flying a drone near and you're aware of anything happening like that, don't hide away.
Yeah, don't hide, you know, don't try and, you know, hide in the shadows. If you are flying, then be open about it.
Yeah.
I would think more of an operator saying, I'm intending to fly, because at that point, before I go through my checks and everything else, if you're telling me then, do you know what, you're not flying because we've got an emergency response, I've just saved myself a hell of a lot of time.
Yes,
so
exactly.
Approach the police.
Yeah, exactly.
And just say, look, I can do this. It's not going to impede. You know, be mindful that just because you are flying in those CA rules, that you're not automatically, you know, free from criminal offences.